The sun had barely kissed the horizon when the village of Akalanga stirred awake. Smoke curled from clay huts, the scent of roasted yams and palm oil weaving through the cool morning air. Chickens clucked nervously, sensing something unseen. In the heart of the village, a solitary drumbeat echoed faintly from the sacred grove, a rhythm that seemed both welcoming and warning. Among the villagers, there was one whose name whispered in hushed tones, Amari. He was 16, tall for his age, with skin the color of dark mahogany, and eyes as deep as the river that curved around Akalanga. His hair was tightly coiled, cropped close to his head, and his movements were quiet, almost predatory, as though he had learned to move without announcing himself. Amari had always been a curious boy, asking questions that made elders frown and neighbors shake their heads. Yet, beneath his curiosity was a restless fear. At night, he often dreamt of someone who looked exactly like him, a shadowy twin that mimicked his every move but smiled when he frowned, laughed when he cried. The villagers had their own words for such things, Infolo Yabantu, secrets of people that should remain hidden. Some believed that every child born under a crescent moon, as Amari had been, carried a shadow twin. Others whispered that shadow twins were spirits, sent to tempt or destroy. On this morning, Amari sensed the first stirrings of something unusual. The air felt heavier, the wind carrying whispers that only he could hear. He glanced around the village square, but no one else seemed to notice. And then he saw it, just for a heartbeat, a figure at the edge of the sacred grove. It was him, or at least it looked like him. "Who's there?" Amari called, his voice steady but his heart hammering. The figure vanished, leaving nothing but rustling leaves. Amari knew that something had changed. His dreams, once confined to night, had crossed into day. And in Akalanga, such crossing was never without consequence. By mid-morning, the village elders gathered under the great baobab tree. Elder Cato, the wise man with eyes like polished ebony, spoke in a low, measured voice. "Amari, come forward," he said. The boy stepped hesitantly from the crowd. "You carry a shadow with you. It has begun to stir. You must understand it before it understands you." Amari swallowed hard. "But Elder Cato, it is only a dream." "Dreams are never only dreams, child. They are warnings," Cato replied, his gaze fixed on the horizon where the river shimmered like molten silver. "Your shadow twin walks not in sleep but in waiting. If you do not act, Akalanga itself may pay the price." The boy shivered. The thought of a shadow twin, alive, breathing, moving independently, was terrifying. Yet, beneath the fear, curiosity burned brighter. Who was this twin? Why had it come into his life? And what did Elder Cato mean when he said the village might suffer? As the elders murmured among themselves, Amari's closest friend, Nia, came to his side. She was 14, with skin the color of rich cocoa and eyes sharp and quick like a hawk's. Her hair was woven into tight braids that clicked softly with each movement. "You look as if you've seen a ghost," she whispered, glancing around as if the trees might be listening. "Tell me what happened." Amari hesitated, then shared the morning's vision. Nia's eyes widened. "You mean, it is like you," she said. "A shadow? A twin? You're not imagining it." "I hope I am," Amari muttered. But the truth rang in his bones, he had felt it. His twin was real, and it was coming closer. Elder Cato stepped forward again. "There is a place," he said, voice heavy with gravity, "where shadow twins dwell before they cross into the world of the living. You must journey there, Amari, or your twin will claim what is yours, not just your life, but your soul." A murmur ran through the crowd. Some villagers crossed themselves, others shook their heads. Journeys to the Shadow Grove were dangerous, for it lay beyond the river, deep into the forest where the spirits of the old world roamed freely. Amari's chest tightened. The forest had always been a place of cautionary tales, where children who wandered were never seen again. But he knew he could not ignore Cato's words. Nia grabbed his arm. "Then I go with you," she said firmly. You are not facing this alone. The elders exchanged looks. After a long pause, Elder Cato nodded. The courage of friendship may serve you better than the strongest spear. But beware, shadow twins are cunning. They can trick your mind, take your voice, even steal the warmth of your heart. Amari felt a chill. He could imagine it already, his twin, not content to simply mimic, but to replace him entirely. That night, as the village slept under a canopy of stars, Amari lay awake, listening to the soft croak of frogs and the gentle lapping of the river. The shadow of the baobab stretched long across the hut. And in the corner, just beyond the flickering lamplight, he saw a silhouette, his silhouette, smiling. The adventure had begun. The first light of dawn stretched across Akalanga, painting the village in shades of gold and crimson. Amari and Nia packed lightly, dried yams, a water gourd, a small iron knife each, and a bundle of protective charms blessed by Elder Cato. The villagers gathered silently to see them off. Some crossed themselves, muttering prayers, others averted their eyes, fearing the forest's dark reputation. Amari's heart beat like a drum. "Are you sure we should go this way?" he asked, pointing to the narrow trail leading toward the dense forest. Nia smiled tightly. "We have no choice. The Shadow Grove waits on the other side. We follow the river. The water always knows the path." The river glimmered like molten silver, winding through reeds and under twisted trees whose roots clawed into the soil like the fingers of old spirits. Mist hovered above the water, hiding shapes that might have been rocks, or spirits waiting to test the courage of trespassers. As they walked, the forest seemed to breathe around them. Leaves rustled in whispers, not in the language of wind, but as if they carried secrets. Shadows stretched long and moved with subtle life, sometimes almost forming shapes familiar to Amari, shapes that reminded him too much of himself. "Do you feel that?" Amari whispered. "It's like the forest is, watching us." Nia nodded. "I feel it too. Stay close." Hours passed. Birds sang their morning songs, insects hummed in rhythm, and the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves filled their nostrils. Yet with each step, Amari felt an invisible pressure, as if unseen eyes followed him, whispering doubts into his mind. And then it appeared. A figure, half hidden by mist, stood across the riverbank. It was Amari, but not him. The twins' eyes glimmered with a strange light, and its lips curled into a knowing smile. Amari froze. "It's you," he said, voice trembling, "my twin." The shadowy twin tilted its head, then vanished into the mist. Nia grabbed Amari's arm. "We cannot follow it blindly. Shadow twins are tricksters, they lure you where they want." They continued along the river, but the forest grew darker, the trees knotting together into shapes that seemed alive. Roots snaked across the path like black serpents, and every rustle of leaves sounded like whispered laughter. Suddenly, a voice echoed across the river. It was Amari's own voice, but it called from a place he could not reach. "Amari, come to me," he staggered back, gripping his knife. "It's trying to trick me." Nia's eyes blazed. "Ignore it. It wants to separate us. Stay together." The river bent sharply, revealing a small clearing. In its center stood a giant hollow tree, its bark carved with faces that seemed to scream silently. Elder Cato had warned of illusions, this was one of them. "Do we go inside?" Amari asked cautiously. Nia shook her head. "No. It's a trap. But we need shelter for the night." As they debated, the twins' laughter echoed from every direction, soft but chilling. Shadows stretched unnaturally, reaching for them. Amari's shadow twisted and moved independently, mimicking gestures he hadn't made. He froze. "You see it too," he whispered. "Yes," Nia said grimly. "It's testing us. Shadow twins feed on fear. If we falter, it grows stronger." Desperate for guidance, Amari remembered the charms. He placed one around his neck and held another in his palm. The twins' presence seemed to flare and dim, flickering like a candle in the wind. "Whatever you do, do not let it speak your name again," Nia advised. "It uses names to anchor itself." Night fell. The forest transformed, shadows coiling and twisting, whispering secrets no one else could hear. In the distance, the shadow grove shimmered faintly, like a mirage between trees. Suddenly, the twin appeared right in front of them, its form clearer than before. Its eyes gleamed amber, teeth sharp in a grin that mirrored Amari's own. "You cannot escape me, brother," it hissed. "I am you, and soon, I will be everything you are." Amari raised his knife. "I will not let you." The twin laughed, a sound that echoed like breaking glass. Then it vanished again, leaving only the faint scent of smoke and damp earth. Nia placed a hand on Amari's shoulder. "We have to rest now. Whatever it wants, we cannot give it strength. At dawn, we move closer to the grove. That is where the truth waits." As they huddled together, listening to the forest's nocturnal chorus, Amari whispered, "What if I fail? What if it becomes me?" Nia's grip tightened. "Then I will fight with you. Together, we face it, or we both fall. Remember, courage is not the absence of fear, it is moving forward despite it." Above them, the stars peeked through the trees, tiny points of hope in the consuming darkness. And somewhere, just beyond the river, the shadowy twin watched, waiting for the first mistake that would allow it to step fully into Amari's world. Dawn broke in muted colors, the sky a soft wash of amber and rose. The forest, which had seemed oppressive at night, now revealed its strange beauty. Vines coiled like silver ropes, flowers glowed faintly in hues unseen in the village, and the river sparkled with an almost unnatural clarity. Amari rubbed his eyes. The twins' words from the night before still echoed, "I am you, and soon, I will be everything you are." He felt a chill, despite the warming sun. Nia stirred beside him. "We move toward the grove. The river will guide us," as Elder Cato said. They walked in silence, alert to every rustle of leaves, every bird call. The forest seemed alive, responding to their steps. Shadows stretched unnaturally, flickering with movement, though no one else was present. And then Amari froze. Across the river, standing on a rock that should have been bare, was a figure holding a small child. The child was unmistakably Amari's younger sister, Luma, her hair in tiny coils, eyes wide and terrified. "Luma!" Amari cried. "What are you doing here?" The figure turned, and Amari's stomach dropped. It was not Luma. It was the shadow twin, perfectly mimicking her innocent features. "Come to me," the twin whispered in Luma's voice, soft and pleading. "Your sister needs you." Amari's chest tightened. "It's a trick," he hissed to Nia, gripping her hand. "Yes." Nia whispered back. "Shadow twins use love and trust. They make you question reality. Do not go near it." The twin laughed softly, a sound that carried across the river and through the trees. Then, in a blink, it disappeared, but Luma's real voice called faintly from the other side of the forest, carried on the wind, "Amari, help." Amari's hands shook. The twin had tested him with illusion and emotion. One wrong step could bind him to its world forever. "Stay close," Nia urged. "We follow the river, not our eyes. Trust what is real." They pressed on, moving carefully along the bank. The twin appeared intermittently, taking forms of villagers, animals, even whispers of voices long gone. At one moment, it mimicked Elder Cato, speaking in solemn tones, "You cannot pass unless you surrender yourself." Amari's resolve wavered. "It's everywhere. I don't know what to believe anymore." Nia gripped his arm. "Believe in yourself. That is the only truth it cannot steal." Hours passed. The forest twisted unnaturally, paths doubling back, stones glowing faintly as if guiding, or misleading, them. Then, they stumbled upon a small shrine made of twisted branches and carved bones, glowing faintly in an eerie blue light. "This must be part of the grove," Amari whispered. "The twin is close." Suddenly, the twin appeared behind them, not as Amari, not as Luma, but as Nia herself. Its lips curved into her familiar smile, voice soft and comforting. "Amari, you're tired. Let me carry your burden. You do not need to go further." Amari recoiled. "Nia." The real Nia stepped forward, shaking her head. "It is not me. It is trying to deceive you." The twin laughed, a chilling echo that bounced through the trees. Shadows deepened around them, forming the shapes of faces long dead. Amari's courage faltered, but he remembered Nia's words, "Believe in yourself." Closing his eyes, he focused inward, feeling his own heartbeat, his own breath, the warmth of his skin. The twin's form wavered, flickered, and then exploded into a mist of darkness, leaving only silence and a faint scent of burnt earth. Exhausted, Amari sank to the ground. It's not real," he murmured, though the forest still seemed alive with quiet menace. Nia knelt beside him. "It will keep coming. The closer we get to the grove, the stronger it grows. Shadow twins thrive on doubt, fear, and distraction. We must remain steady." They rested briefly, eating their dried yams and drinking from the gourd. But the feeling of being watched never left. Every rustle of leaves, every ripple in the river, could be the twin returning in another form. By afternoon, the forest opened slightly, revealing a narrow gorge through which the river tumbled into misty depths. Across the gorge, a towering tree pulsed with faint blue light, the Shadow Grove. "We made it this far," Amari said, awestruck. "But it feels alive." Nia nodded. "It is. The grove is not just a place, it is a test. The twin can manipulate the grove itself. We must be careful." As they prepared to cross, the twin appeared one last time that day, not as Amari, not as Nia, not as a loved one, but as Amari's reflection in the river, smiling malevolently. "You cannot pass," it whispered. "I am the one who should live. You are only a shadow. Give me your life, and I will spare your friend." Amari gritted his teeth, gripping his knife. "I will never give in," he said. The twins' laughter rang across the gorge, a sound that promised both doom and revelation. The river churned, mist swirling into shapes that seemed to reach for them. Amari and Nia held each other's hands, ready to step into the unknown. The Shadow Grove awaited, and with it, the truth of the Shadow Twin, and the choice that would decide not just Amari's fate, but the fate of Akalanga itself. The gorge loomed before them, a sheer drop into swirling mist. The river roared below like a beast, its waters churning silver and blue in the dim light. Across the narrow wooden bridge that swayed with each step, the Shadow Grove pulsed like a living heart, its enormous tree towering high above the forest canopy. Amari tightened his grip on Nia's hand. "Once we cross, there's no turning back," he said, his voice barely more than a whisper. Nia nodded. "I know. But we've come too far to falter now. Remember, courage is our only weapon." Step by step, they crossed the bridge. Each plank creaked underfoot, and every shadow seemed to twist into the shape of Amari's twin. The air grew colder, carrying whispers that slithered around them. "You are mine. You belong to me." When they reached the grove, the light around the towering tree shimmered and bent unnaturally. The bark seemed almost liquid, pulsing with a faint blue glow. Amari felt a strange tug in his chest, as if the grove itself were aware of his presence. "This is it," he murmured. "The heart of the forest, the twin waits here." Nia scanned the area. Strange shapes shifted between the roots, shadows of creatures she did not recognize. Some were humanoid, some resembled twisted versions of animals, and all seemed to watch, silently judging their courage. And then it appeared, the twin stepped from the tree's shadow, tall and exact, mirroring Amari in every detail, his posture, his eyes, even the nervous tremor in his hands. But its smile was cruel, sharper than anything human. "Welcome," the twin said softly, its voice a perfect echo. "You have come far, but you still do not understand. I am not evil. I am necessary. Without me, the balance of your world falters." Amari swallowed hard. "Balance? You mean to destroy me?" "Destroy you?" the twin said, tilting its head. "No. I only wish to replace what is weak. You are weak. Your fear, your doubt, it feeds me. Let me take your place, and the village will flourish." Nia stepped forward. "You will not fool him. He is stronger than you think." The twin laughed, and the forest seemed to bend around it. Shadows coiled like serpents, rising from the ground and the branches, reaching for them. Amari could feel his strength waning, his mind pulling toward doubt. Suddenly, a figure appeared from behind the grove, a small, elderly woman with eyes like polished amber and a staff carved from the bone of a great animal. It was Elder Cato's mother, Mirembe, a seer long thought gone. "Amari," she said, her voice firm yet kind, "you are not alone. Your twin thrives on what you fear, but it cannot survive where love and courage shine." The twin hissed. "Old witch. Your magic cannot save him." Mirembe raised her staff, chanting words older than the forest. The grove pulsed with light, the shadows recoiling. "Amari, to defeat the twin, you must face it as yourself, not as you fear it, not as it wants you to see it." Amari took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of Nia's hand and the strength of Mirembe's presence. Slowly, he stepped forward. The twin mirrored him instantly, its grin widening. "You cannot escape me," it said. "I am you." "You are only a shadow," Amari said, voice steady. "You cannot take what I choose to protect." The twin lunged, moving with impossible speed, trying to strike him. But Amari focused inward, remembering every lesson, every fear, every love that shaped him. At that moment, the twin hesitated, flickering like mist in sunlight. You are nothing without me," it spat. Amari shook his head. "I am not nothing. I am who I choose to be." He raised his knife, but instead of striking, he placed it on the ground and stepped forward, facing the twin fully with open hands. Light seemed to radiate from him, warmth and certainty pushing against the grove's shadows. The twin shrieked, twisting violently, trying to flee, but Amari's presence held it. Slowly, the shadow faltered, its form unraveling into nothing but mist. Silence fell. The grove stilled, its pulsing light softening into a calm glow. Amari sank to his knees, exhausted but alive. Nia knelt beside him. "You did it," she whispered. "You faced yourself, and won." Mirembe smiled, placing a gentle hand on Amari's shoulder. "Remember this, child, shadows are strongest when feared, but courage and love can turn even darkness into light." Amari looked at the grove, at the river sparkling beyond, at the path leading home. The forest had tested him, shown him his deepest fears, and now he had emerged stronger. "Let's go home," he said softly. "Akalanga needs us." And as they walked back through the forest, the shadows no longer followed, they lingered in the periphery, distant and harmless. Amari knew the twin might return one day, but he also knew he had the strength to face it, with courage, love, and the wisdom to choose his own path. The journey back to Akalanga was quiet, the forest now almost peaceful. The mist no longer clung to the trees, and the river's roar had softened into a gentle murmur. Birds sang freely, and sunlight spilled through the branches like warm honey. Amari and Nia walked side by side, their footsteps steady. Though they were exhausted, a newfound confidence buoyed them. Amari felt lighter, as if the burden of the Shadow Twins' constant threat had been lifted, not erased, but mastered. When they emerged from the forest, the village appeared as it had in the morning of their departure, huts with smoke curling gently from chimneys, children playing near the riverbank, and elders seated under the baobab tree. But something had changed. The villagers seemed to sense the shift, the air felt different, safer, as if a hidden weight had been removed. Amari and Nia approached cautiously. Elder Cato rose, his eyes bright with recognition and relief. "You have returned," he said, voice calm but full of warmth. "And you have faced what few could endure. Tell us, what did you learn?" Amari took a deep breath. "The twin, it was never outside me alone. It fed on my fear, my doubt. The more I doubted myself, the stronger it became. I realized, courage isn't about fighting alone. It's about facing yourself, trusting those who love you, and choosing what is right." The villagers murmured, some nodding in understanding. Nia added, "And shadows may return, but if we face them with truth and love, we can overcome them." Elder Cato smiled, placing a hand on Amari's shoulder. "The forest tests all who enter it. Many are lost to their shadows. You have returned because you embraced the greatest truth. The power to overcome darkness lies within, and it grows stronger when shared." Amari glanced at the village, feeling the warmth of community around him, the trust of Nia, and the lingering guidance of Mirembe's words. The shadow twin might exist still, waiting for fear to grow again, but he no longer feared it. He knew its power was limited to what he allowed within himself. Days passed, and life in Akalanga returned to its rhythm, but the story of Amari's journey spread quickly, becoming a cautionary tale and a lesson for all children of the village. Children whispered by the river, "Do not fear your shadow, for it only thrives if you let it." Elders reminded the young, "Face your fears with courage, and you will discover strength beyond measure." One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the village, Amari and Nia sat by the river, tossing small stones into the shimmering water. "You were brave," Nia said softly. "Not because you fought blindly, but because you understood yourself." Amari smiled, feeling the calm of the river in his chest. "And I could not have done it without you." From the forest, a faint breeze carried whispers. For a moment, Amari thought he heard his twin's voice, soft and distant. But this time, it did not frighten him. He merely smiled, knowing he had the strength to face whatever came. And so, the village of Akalanga thrived, its people wiser, its children braver, and the story of the shadowy twin passed down through generations. A lesson embedded in every whispered retelling: courage, love, and self-trust are the light that banishes even the darkest shadow.